Hey, it's HPG. This is the podcast, Living My Breastless Life, the show where we hear about my journey to heal while battling cancer, being a wife, a toddler mom. We're going to cover all things real life. We learn what it really means to heal no matter what we go through. In Season 1, you will hear some of my story, along with episodes featuring my occasional co-host, Martha, and some badass guests. There will be humor, life hacks, tips and tricks, and further proof that truth can be stranger than fiction. In 2020, I started a new social work adventure. I was in a really good place in terms of my career. After a tough road of infertility, we took the roller coaster ride of IVF. We were so blessed. The highs and lows of IVF had led us to a successful pregnancy. Our miracle baby was due in early May. I think I nested the entire pregnancy. I learned that I am a baby gear research guru of sorts. I had a lot of fun preparing for our daughter's arrival. I had a plan A and a plan B for most any possible situation that I could imagine, except a global pandemic. We had a lot of anxiety around having a baby in the early stages of COVID, paired with the anxiety of being new moms. We knew it would be just the three of us, and that we would not have a lot of support, if any. This was solely a result of COVID. We are resourceful and planned the best we could. We had our baby, and it was the most amazing day of my life. We had a healthy baby, born under a powerful full moon. I was madly in love with our precious blessing. We brought her home on my 40th birthday. What an amazing birthday present. It was just the three of us, and we got really, really close. I think overall, that was a great moment, many moments, and in many ways. I think that Team PG really started to learn that we can do anything together. When Mar returned to work, I continued to work from home. Hyper went to daycare. This was an extremely hard adjustment. I remember I had to shut the door to her nursery because I was so saddened by her not being there. The isolation had finally gotten to me. I became very depressed, in all honesty. I was still seeing my therapist virtually and had decided to consult with a psychiatrist. I'm thankful I had the courage to ask for help. I'm thankful that I didn't let stigma or what other people might think if they knew I was seeing a psychiatrist weigh on any decision that I made. I needed help, and I'm thankful that I got the help that I needed. I thought a lot about life changes that I wanted to make. Mara and I discussed our dreams for the future. We were going into 2021 with big plans, goals, big and small. I made healing the word for 2021. I don't think I'd ever had a New Year's word before. The definition of healing is the process of making or becoming sound or healthy again. Let's take a little break and get right back to the show. Feel free to let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes. Get in touch by heading over to According to HPG on Instagram, and be sure to tell your friends about the show. There was a time when I thought I could record, edit, and publish everything myself. Seeing as this left me very little time for anything else, I started to lose the standard of quality I was used to. Then I found Jay. In less than a day, the show went from so-so to amazing. Don't sacrifice quality for mediocrity. Check out the Podcast Mechanic and take your sound to the next level. Connect with Jay today at the Podcast Mechanic on Instagram. Let him know HPG sent you. And now, back to the show. I cut out things in my life that did not work for me. And I identified what supports I needed to put in place to keep those unhealthy things of my past out. In working with my therapist, I decided to join several support groups. In full transparency, I would have never done this in my past. I was ready to shed old ways. I started to learn a lot about putting my own ego in check. This is not easy, but it is extremely valuable. I really started to learn what it meant to trust myself, and that was just the beginning. I was reading a lot of memoirs. My absolute favorites are the stories where people tell you the real stuff. The truth is really the shit that makes the sun rise. Our secrets keep us sick and can often bury us. I stumbled across a memoir that had a to-do list for folks who had become disconnected from themselves. One of the items on the to-do list was to go to the doctor for a checkup. So I did. I had my very first mammogram late on a Friday afternoon in mid-July of 2021. The mammogram itself was pretty easy. I had often heard that they hurt. There was a little discomfort, but it's not that painful. The following Monday, I received a call from my gynecologist's office. I honestly thought they wanted to collect a copay. They did not. I was told that I had a large mass in my left breast. I was instructed to come in on Tuesday for more diagnostic imaging. I was in shock. I somehow was able to navigate from the location that I was when I got the call to my home. I had called a really good friend, shared what I had heard with her, and asked her to stay on the phone with me. I didn't want to tell Mar because she had picked up Piper from daycare, and I was concerned that her hearing that news might rattle her and cause her to have an accident. I told Martha as soon as she got home. We talked a lot about dense breast tissue, or maybe the imaging was off and they just needed to get a better picture. Martha's a nurse and often knows more than me about a lot of things, but doesn't inject her intelligence in unnecessary times. We went together for further diagnostic imaging on that Tuesday. On Wednesday, around lunchtime, I got the call that the mass had blood flow. I've been in the medical field long enough to know what that means. A biopsy was scheduled for a few days in advance. In that waiting period, I told myself it was probably nothing. It would be benign. I told myself a lot of things. But I had a deep inner knowing that I shared with no one. When we went for the biopsy, I had a lot of questions. I heard a phrase from my surgical oncologist: I can't answer any questions until we have tissue. So we wait. And we wait. Thank you for listening to this episode of Living My Breastless Life. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please leave a review, download, and follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast. Go get your mammograms.